This is the Bookshelf Challenge, where I challenge myself to read all of the books on my bookshelf. All right, just got done reading another book. This was Nightmare Hall, The Experiment. So this is another book in the Nightmare Hall horror anthology series from the 90s. And I got to say, out of all the Nightmare Hall books I've read so far, this is the 8th, this was probably the least exciting, the most disappointing. Because this one just feels like it was slapped together. Like, plot synopsis, I really couldn't tell you what this book was about. It's just, you have some girl and she's in some class called Poetry Experiment. And then some creepy stuff happens to her. She starts getting these threatening letters, and she gets a dead fish in her mail. She gets locked into a lab with a bunch of spiders and snakes. Yeah, just like I said, kind of feels it was this writer, Diane Ho. She's kind of like R.L. Stine. She writes just a shit ton of books. So I guess this one was, just kind of, like I said, slapped together. I was kind of disappointed because you got this giant spider and you think, oh, they're doing a science experiment and they're going to have a giant spider in this one. But no, it's just a regular sized spider. And I don't even understand why this book was called The Experiment, because what experiment are we talking about here? Spoilers, like I said, it's just this standard college girl. Someone's threatening her life. It's going to be a regular person, nothing supernatural, scientific. And at the end, like the guy, it was all some kind of revenge plot against someone else, and she was just going to kind of like collateral damage. I knew who the bad person was going to be right away, just because I've read so many of these books. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be her stalker. What's weird is she has like 2 other incidences with some creepy guys. One's some boyfriend of hers that she, kind of dumps. And, he kind of chases after her with his car. So she doesn't go to the police or anything about that. And then, like, the professor character, like, has this psychotic episode in front of her. But, neither one of them is the stalker, bad guy at the end. But it's just 2 red herrings. And it's like, okay, but she should talk to someone about them, right? But, I guess that's one of the themes with these books is they don't have, so much about vampires and witches and werewolves. It's about, how dangerous men really are, which, okay, fair enough. But it does get repetitive after a while. One of the things I liked about it, though, is it's called Nightmare Hall, and we get a scene in Nightmare Hall. There's this, like this big creepy dormitory. Anyway, not only do we get a scene in Nightmare Hall, but we get the return of Giselle. It was in the first book, the Silent Scream, I think it was called. And her character dies off at the beginning, and then it's implied that her presence is in the hall, that she's a ghost. But we don't see it, but we see her as a ghost in this one. So that was an added plus, and that's really all I got to say about this one. Like I said, I didn't hate it. It's probably going to be the most forgettable one out of the series. And moving on, I think I am going to finally finish this damn book that I've been reading. It was on my bookshelf about a month ago. I took it off to read it, and I still haven't finished. So I'm going to put some effort into that. So it might be a while before I do another bookshelf book